This third quarter for both teams are going to go a long way towards determining what happens the rest of the way.
Aaron Samita showing why he's a quarterback and not a wide receiver, having a tough time hauling in that pass and nearly getting our cameraman Andy Robinson right in the head.
Colgate deferred after winning the opening toss, so they will start with the football here in the second half, and I think we'll go a long way towards determining what happens to this Cornell offense, or this Cornell defense against that Colgate offense in this opening drive. Now, Cornell apparently has been penalized for coming out of the locker room late because the ball is back on the 25-yard line.
And Dave Quarles will kick off. You saw the first half numbers for Kenny Gamble. Gamble did not return kicks last week because he's been bothered by a little bit of a torn cartilage problem in his rib cage, which, as you know, Jack, can be very painful. Gamble averaging 28.2 yards per kickoff return. Cornell as a team this year averaging 24.4 yards per kickoff return, and that's 15th in the nation. Gamble is back deep with Stacy Harris, number 34, and this is the first activity of the half for the place kicker, Dave Quarles, the senior from Farmington Hills, Michigan. We're underway in the second half. No score. Stacy Harris from his 18. Across the 30 and 35, across the 40 and 45, and dragged down in Cornell territory at the 47-yard line. So we see right away why Colgate is among the leaders in the nation in kickoff returns, as Stacy Harris brings it back across midfield, a return of 35 yards.
Well, first the penalty yardage and then the good return by Harris. Colgate has had great field position all afternoon. They better start capitalizing on it. Injured Cornell player being assisted to the sidelines. That's Dan Miller, a backup linebacker, a junior out of Baltimore, Maryland. Transfer from Brown.
Gary Aurora threw 3 interceptions in the first half. He's still at the helm, takes the handoff to Gamble. Looking downfield, complete to Buddy Brown. He took a hard hit from Jeff DeLamalure. That came after he picked up the first down at the Cornell 31. A gain of 16 on the first play of the half for Colgate.
They're doing an excellent job of beating the Cornell two-deep coverage by sending a guy out into the flat to contain the corner man and then curling Brown or A.J. Thomas underneath the safeties.
Buddy Brown was wide open. He's a dual major in economics and political science at Colgate. This time Gamble does get the call, and he breaks free up the middle across the 25 and down at the 24-yard line. A gain of 7 on first down for Kenny Gamble.
Good to see Mark Perlman, who made the tackle, back in the ball game. Perlman had a little ding on his left knee in the second period, but he's back out there. I think that's what Colgate has to do. I mean, they just got to take some of the French pastry off of this offense and just say, give it to number 2 and let's go at him.
1 minute played, second half, no score. It's Cornell hosting Colgate. Gamble up the middle. He has the first down as he makes his way to the 20-yard line.
Ball carried by number 2, Gamble.
Ball came loose. Mike Farley ended up with the football, but apparently after the play was completed, Gamble is not getting up. He's still down at the 20-yard line.
Kenny Gamble led the nation.
Well, as you mentioned, Sean, he had problems with the rib cage, and that might be part of the reason why they have not done that much power running this afternoon. He might be very tender at it. We're isolated on Kenny Gamble. This is a sprint draw. Take it deep in the backfield, break against the grain, and right there he took a pretty good pop up around his shoulder and shoulder blade on the right side, and he is still, as you see, on all fours at a 20-yard line. See if we can see it from this angle.
The 1987 Cornell lightweight football
went head-to-head with Jeff DeLamalure.
Next Saturday afternoon as Princeton comes
Gamble led the nation in rushing last year, 165.1 yards per game, best among all Division I AA backs. He was first in all-purpose running, 220.5 yards per game, and he finished second in scoring with 126 points. He's getting up slowly, and I think it was the head-on-head collision that might have dinged him just a bit.
They're asking Kenny, what's your name? There's Dan Miller, the young man who was injured on the second half kickoff. This appears to be a right knee problem for Dan.
He's a transfer to Cornell from Brown University. Had to sit out last year.
Well, they bring in J.J. Cordy as the new tailback for Colgate. Freshman out of Vestal, New York. That's just around the corner.
We should point out Colgate playing without Jeff Way, who had been their starting fullback the past couple of weeks. He has a sprained knee. There's an incompletion. Well out of the end zone was Buddy Brown. And 2nd and 10 upcoming for Colgate from just inside the 21.
Brown had beaten Mark Perlman with an excellent move in the end zone, but Aurora was getting so much pressure from Mike Farley and company that he couldn't keep the ball in play.
Second and 10, Colgate. 13:23 to play, third quarter, no score. Aurora under pressure, and he's taken down by Corky Webb, the nickelback, back at the 32-yard line. A loss of 11 yards on the play.
This time, Corky Webb, as the nickelback blitzes right into the rollout of Gary Aurora, and he has rolled back to the 32-yard line.
Mike Madden has made his way over to the Colgate sideline. We hope to have an injury report for you in a moment about Kenny Gamble. 3rd and 22.
And a big play here for the Colgate offense that has struggled on third down situations all afternoon.
Plenty of time for Aurora. Now he's running out of time, moves away from Tuxedo. He has to run, and Webb takes him out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Well short of a first down.
Tackled by number 22, Webb.
4th and about 17 upcoming for Colgate, and let's see if they try Rory Crump once again. He's 0 for 2 on field goals this afternoon. Missed one wide left and came up short. Looks like they're going to go for it.
They are going to go for it. They've got a 4th and 17. Cornell makes a couple of substitutions. Derek Wilmot, junior mechanical engineering major, comes into the ball game replacing Gary Rinkus to try and perhaps get a little more speed on that defensive front and put some pressure on Aurora.
From the 28-yard line, 4th down and 17. Aurora throws, and it's incomplete. He short-hopped the tight end, Mike Orey, and the Cornell defense holds once again. The offense comes on the field for the first time in the second half. 1st and 10 at the Cornell 28.
Well, the great concern right now for the Colgate Red Raiders, the condition of their All-American tailback, Kenny Gamble. If he can't go anymore this afternoon, it certainly changes not only the play calling, but the attitude of that Colgate offense.
Aaron Samita had a rough first half. He hands it off to Scott Malaga. He moves forward across the 30 and out to about the 33-yard line for a gain of almost 5 yards on first down for the Big Red.
Well, this is a carbon copy of what the Big Red did so much last year in going 8-2. The offense struggled its way to find some points, but the defense just played so well, it made the difference in the ball game. They won 3-0 last year over Harvard, for example. The defense just said, all right, we're going to close the door. The offense is going to get us some points somehow, and we're going to win a football game.
Malaga now with 38 yards on 11 carries. 2nd and 5. Samita swings it out to Malaga. Cuts toward the middle of the field and breaks free. Scott Malaga may go all the way. It's a foot race. Scott Malaga at the 20, and he's dragged down at the 17-yard line. Juan De La Rosa made the saving tackle.
Now, the one thing the Big Red lacks in the backfield this year is true breakaway speed out of Scott Malaga. But he does so many things well that a 50-yard screen pass results for the Big Red their deepest penetration of the ball game. Malaga does some nice running here as he stepped through a couple of tackles and then just took off running before De La Rosa ran him down.
A 50-yard gain. 1st and 10 Cornell with a 17. Samita toward the end zone for Hahn, and a penalty flag is down as he collided with Juan De La Rosa.
Samita was really popped as he let go of this football. But you're going to have the penalty against the Red Raiders. Pass interference against Juan De La Rosa, and the Big Red will have the football down inside the 10-yard line.
Juan didn't like the call. He's a junior from New York City, New York.
Defensive pass interference, 15 yards. The ball will be on a 2-yard line. First and goal.
So now the Big Red with their best opportunity to score. Hahn was behind De La Rosa. You can't really see all of the contact from that angle, but as the ball went from the inside to the outside shoulder of Hahn and he flipped his head, that's when De La Rosa made the contact.
Officials stopped the play, and I believe Colgate has taken a timeout here.
Now, I think Freddie Dunlap wants an explanation of the penalty. Why a 15-yarder is not half the distance. While we've got a moment here, let's go down to Mike Madden as he's got a report for us.
Well, we've got some good news and some bad news for the Colgate Red Raiders. The bad news, of course, is that they got their backs up to the 2-yard line. The good news is that their number 2, Kenny Gamble, he will be back. I talked to Kenny. He said he got popped in the shoulder, but he assured me he will be back, and especially I know if Cornell converts on this one, he'll be back in the next series.
They did not charge a timeout to Colgate there. They did get the explanation, as Jack pointed out. Well, and they did not win the argument if they were arguing, because the ball's still on the 2-yard line.
What happens inside the 20-yard line on a pass interference call? You march off the complete 15-yard penalty. Freddie Dunlap was looking for half the distance, but you don't get it on the interference call.
First and goal from the 2. Malaga stopped short. Barely got back to the line of scrimmage.
Tried to go behind Doug Langen and Lee Rehrman, their best blockers on the right side of the Cornell offensive line. This is going to be a tough 2 yards against that big defensive front line of Colgate.
Bob Colbert signaling in the play to Aaron Samita. No gain for Malaga. Second and goal from the 2. 10:45 to play, third quarter. No score. This is the best chance for the Big Red. The Red Raiders have been here before. The pitch goes to Tim McDevitt. McDevitt in trouble, and he is tripped up way behind the line of scrimmage, back at the 8-yard line. Steve Aldero, number 21, the strong safety, made the big play. The sophomore from Verona, New Jersey.
I had an old coach who always said, in a track meet, you run between the lines. In a football game, you cross the lines. Tim McDevitt got caught in the track meet there, running between the lines, the 10 and the 5, instead of trying to go north-south into the end zone. It cost the Big Red 6 yards of very valuable real estate.
Now it's third and goal from the 8. Malaga blown back behind Samita. Looking to the end zone, lobs it out for Hahn, too far, and Cornell's guilty of a pick play as a flag comes down. Hawkins ran a pick for Hahn.
They're not going to call they're going to call contact again. I mean, Greg Minuski unloaded. Nope. Well, I was looking one way and now another. So it looked at first from the indication that it was going to go against Cornell, because Minuski really hit Hawkins. And the call does go against the Big Red for the illegal pick, which will be offensive interference.
Sean Hawkins ran a pick for Chris Hahn. It was pretty obvious.
15 yards, loss of down. 4th down.
Well, Cornell doing just what Colgate has been doing all afternoon. Crucial mistakes down deep in your opponent's territory, and the Big Red is going to have to go for the field goal now.
These two teams can't stand prosperity.
Well, everybody in football, you can go from Pop Warner up to the NFL, runs the pick play, particularly down near the end zone. You just have to disguise it a little better than Cornell did there.
That was obvious. We could see it clearly from here. Dave Quarles on to attempt his first field goal of the afternoon. He was 1 for 2 last week against Penn. Kick is up. It's got to go, and it's wide to the right.
Field goal attempt is no good.
So both teams with crucial errors deep inside of the opponent's territory. That's why we're still scoreless with 9:49 to play in the third period.
Colgate has missed a field goal and had one blocked. Dave Quarles misses. And Kenny Gamble is back in the ball game as the Red Raiders take over on offense, 1st and 10 from their own 23. Maxie Bond really in the ear of one of the officials along the near sideline. Aurora got tangled up with one of his backs. Tokish got a piece of him, and then he was finished off by Mike Texido, number 95.
There was a real mix-up from the get-go for Colgate on this one. Gamble, I think, went the wrong way, or Aurora did, Then he got tangled up with Buckner, and then got tangled up with Tokish and Tuxedo, and that hurt a lot more than the first couple did.
While we have a second, we want to send along happy birthday greetings to Rose Lanning, watching the game on Long Island. Rose is the mother of our director, Bob Lanning. She's celebrating a birthday today. I don't know if we should mention how many, but we certainly pass along our warmest wishes to Bob's mom. Here goes Kenny Gamble. Around left end and dragged out of bounds at the 29-yard line. Picked up 17 yards on the play, but he's still short of a first down by about 4 yards.
Mike Raich, the cornerback, had to come up and make the play. That's what Gamble can do so well, the cutback. See all that Cornell wash, the pursuit? Now they're chasing a guy that they can't run with. And Raich, who has been an outstanding corner man for Cornell for a lot of years, is the guy who makes the stop. Otherwise, it might have been off to the races. Aurora rolling right. Cuts back toward the far side of the field. Look out. He moves away from Tross. Now throws up the field, and it's overthrown. Intended for Rick Evans. Gary Aurora, again in fluty fashion, moving away from the rush, but he could not complete the pass downfield for Rick Evans, and flags down at the play. Illegal motion, the call, going against Fred Dunlap's Red Raiders. And I would assume the Big Red will decline the penalty and force the Red Raiders to punt the football. But you're right, Gary Aurora, he's running a little bit of
motion, offense, refused.
He's wearing down the tread on those shoes this afternoon. He went every which way. To Cornell's defense. Good job again this afternoon. They're trying to.
Cornell might have had too many men on the field, but there are no flags down. They were late getting their punt receiving team out there. Raich hauled in the kick from Crump and has swarmed under after a 2-yard return at the 32-yard line. 1st and 10 Cornell at their own 32 with 8:38 to play in the third quarter, and there's no score in the game.
Look at some other scores from around the Ivy League. Brown in the Governor's Cup in Rhode Island leading URI 10-7 in the second quarter. Bucknell, wow, 25-0 over the Penn Quakers. Northeastern and Harvard, the Crimson have taken the lead on the Huskies. Lafayette leading Columbia by 2 touchdowns now, and New Hampshire rolling on Dartmouth.
On first down, the handoff to Malaga. That's been the primary first down play for the Big Red this afternoon, and it picked up 3 yards, perhaps 4, out to the 26-yard line.
I think you have to give an awful lot of credit to junior Doug Langen out of Staten Island, New York, the business management major. He has done an excellent job on Tony Khalif this afternoon, the defensive tackle of Colgate. Khalif has been involved, but he has not dominated like he did a year ago.
2nd and 6 from the 36-yard line. Marvin Dunklin gets the call. He's going to throw it, looking for Chris Hahn, and it is incomplete. The Red Raiders saw it coming, and Juan De La Rosa combined with Paul Angelino, number 26, to break it up.
Chris Hahn makes a good adjustment on this ball to try and get to it, but De La Rosa, that's outstanding. He turned his head back just in time to avoid the face guarding call. That's just good defensive backfield play. You were right, though. I think Dunklin might have given that away just a touch too soon, Sean. They were right on top of that play.
Juan De La Rosa, number 15, was an outside linebacker last year and was 4th on the Colgate team in tackles with 55. Now a cornerback. Under pressure, Samita moves away, flag down, looks like offensive holding. The pass is complete to Tim McDevitt. If the play stands, he'll have a first down at the Colgate 49, but I believe it's offensive holding back at the 30-yard line against Cornell. It is.
Newton Whitaker making the indication. That'll move the ball back inside the Big Red 20.
Holding, offense. Still 3rd down.
Penalty, holding against Cornell.
The way this game's going, you get the feeling these two teams could play 8 quarters today and neither of them would score.
It's been tough. A couple of good defenses, that's for sure, and then crucial mistakes by each team down the stretch. They got into the scoring zone.
3rd down, 16 from the 26. 7:25 to play third quarter, no score. Blitz. They dump it off to Dunklin. Dunklin needs a block and doesn't get it as Doug Davis ran right past Juan De La Rosa, who made the tackle.
How many times have you seen that in a screen situation? You got two blockers out there, one defender, and the defender, in this case number 15, Juan De La Rosa, splits the blockers and makes a tackle. One of those, you got him, no, you got him. Instead, he's got him.
Tom Coben on for the 6th time this afternoon. Brian Carroll, number 22, back to receive the punt. Good kick. Drives Carroll back to the 39, and he's taken down by Evan Park at the 38-yard line. Evan Park's been the first man down on punt coverage all afternoon long for the Big Red of Cornell.
Colgate winning the battle of the punt game, so to speak, as they have got good field position here to start another drive, but that hasn't made much of a difference today.
Gamble and Buckner in the I formation behind Gary Aurora as she's doing a little home televising of her own.
We got to change a quarterback. Damon Phelan has come into the ball game for the Red Raiders at quarterback.
He was a starter last year, wearing number 7, the junior from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. 6 feet, 168 pounds. He's going to throw on his first play and throw deep for Buddy Brown, and it is incomplete. Mike Raich on the coverage, and Buddy Brown couldn't haul it in. Damon Phelan wasting no time going downfield.
Phelan has played a lot this year. He's 14 of 28 on the season for 194 yards. He can throw the home run ball. Buddy Brown streaking up the far sidelines, had a step on Mike Raich. He just couldn't hang on to the football. Phelan put that one right there.
Phelan had a great day last year against Cornell. He completed 20 of 39 passes for 256 yards. That yardage total is Phelan's career high. Looks short for the tight end Ori. Ori dropped at the 45-yard line, a gain of 7, 3 yards short of a first down. Mike McGran on the tackle along with 91 Gary Rinkus.
They roll out to the wide side of the field. They have a deep receiver. Then they have Gamble in the short flat, and they have Ori, the tight end, who sits in a hole. And he was the man that Phelan caught with a completion. There you see next week's game, and that'll be a dandy.
Both teams will come in undefeated in the Ivy League, Princeton and Brown. Each won their Ivy League opener last week. On 3rd and 3, Phelan throws short, complete for a first down. Breaking away, number 32, Rick Evans. He's going to go all the way, and there are no flags down on the play. Missed tackling by Cornell cost the Big Red. It's a touchdown pass of 55 yards. Phelan to Rick Evans.
It'll look like a long bomb in the papers tomorrow, but this was just a good athletic effort by Rick Evans, the sophomore from New Hartford, New York. Donnell Johnson was there. DeLamalure overran the play, and here he goes. So after better than 2.5 quarters of frustration, the Colgate offense has finally gotten on the board.
Rick Evans, his second touchdown reception of the season. He's a sophomore, as Jack pointed out, from New Hartford, New York. Rory Crump has had trouble on extra points this season. He's 3 for 7. Make it 4 for 8. No problem with that one, right down the middle. And with 5:46 to play in the third quarter, Rick Evans has given Colgate a 7-0 lead over Cornell.
Let's watch the play again from the catch. And Evans here with an excellent move around Mark Perlman. And by that point, you had all of the Cornell secondary behind him. You knew linebackers or linemen weren't going to catch him. And that was the difference why Evans scored and Malaga did not earlier in the ball game on the long gainer for Cornell. He was run down by a defensive back, Juan De La Rosa. 62 yards in just 3 plays, so Damon Phelan comes on and immediately makes his presence felt for the Red Raiders. And for the first time, the Cornell offense is really in a situation where they have to move the football.
Crump to kick off. Frank Monego back deep along with Sam Brickley.
Back to receive for Cornell.
Maxie Bond again on the near sideline, hollering at one of the officials. I think he's still upset about something that happened when Cornell had that 1st and goal at the 2. Crump has it come down at the 11. Frank Manego, the sophomore from Massillon, Ohio, crosses the 20 and is dragged down at the 22-yard line. Number 26, Paul Angelino, made the tackle.
By number 26, Angelino. And by number 52, Robitaille.
Colgate made a quarterback change. If you were Cornell, would you consider it?
Well, you would think about the possibilities. Of course, the backups, Dave Dossey and Larry Delaney, have not played yet this year. Coach has told us that we could see all three of them during the course of the year, but for the moment, number 10, Aaron Samita, is still in there.
With one back behind him, that's Marvin Dunklin. Manego in motion. The option, the pitch to Dunklin. Across the 25 and out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
By Dunklin.
Dunklin certainly gives you much more speed in the tailback slot. The downside to that is he's 151 pounds.
Concerned expression on the face of Maxie Bond. Maxie 1-3 in his coaching career at Cornell against Colgate. Malaga moves across the 30, and he'll come up a yard short of the first down.
By number 30, Malaga.
Big situation here for the Big Red. They have a little more than a yard to go for the first down, and they cannot afford here, Sean, at all to be in a 3-and-out situation. They have to give some time for their defense to get a breather because they have played much of this football game.
Third down 1. 5 minutes to play, third quarter. Big play here for Cornell. Big Red trails Colgate 7-0. Pitch to Dunklin. And it'll be close, but he appears to have the first down as he hurdled over Bavell and came down at about the 34-yard line. That should be a first down for Cornell, and it is.
Dave Bavell was flying up from his free safety spot. Marvin decided the best path was airborne, and he got the first down. So Cornell needed, they've got to get some time for their defense, and quite frankly, they got to get some points now because they're trailing 7-0.
Samita fakes the handoff to Malaga. Over the middle for Sean Hawkins, nearly intercepted. Broken up by Steve Aldero, number 21.
For number 31, Hawkins, incomplete.
Colgate has done a pretty good job this afternoon of stopping Cornell's efforts to go deep. Hawkins had a step on his defender, Steve Aldero, but if Samita had put a little more loft onto that ball, Hawkins might have been able to run under it and go all the way with it. Tried to throw the gun, and it almost cost him.
2nd and 10 from the 34. The delay to Malaga. He's going nowhere. Dragged down by 47, Don Bedell, the backup right defensive end, senior from Short Hills, New Jersey.
No gain, basically, so a 3rd and 10 situation, and Cornell will need some kind of passing play to get it upfield. One of the problems with a young quarterback is not so much that he telegraphs his passes with his delivery as he tends to sometimes isolate on the guy he wants to throw to right from the snap of the ball instead of looking off the defenders a little bit.
3rd and 10, Samita, deep drop. Sidesteps D'Angelo, looking downfield, overthrown and intercepted. Juan De La Rosa came up with the football at the Colgate 47-yard line. The Red Raiders come back on offense.
There's a flag on the play at the 31-yard line, however, and this might be a late hit. It is a personal foul, roughing the passer. So not only does the Colgate offense sometimes make costly mistakes, a very costly mistake. I believe it was Kyle Warwick who was barreling down on Aaron Samita as he released that football, and the penalty will give Cornell a first down and the possession of the football out at the 49-yard line.
Roughing the passer, defense, first down.
It negates the first career interception for Juan De La Rosa. Ball out of midfield at the 50-yard line, 1st and 10. 3:37 to play, third quarter. Colgate 7, Cornell nothing. Samita looking deep, going deep, too deep for Chris Hahn, and De La Rosa had the best shot at it. He could not come up with the football.
Pass intended for number 11, Hahn, Incomplete.
Let's
Defending
update
on
you
the
now
play,
on
number
the
50,
baseball scores.
Del
Detroit
Rosa.
trying to get back on the winning track after having lost a couple in a row to Toronto. And in the National League, Pittsburgh out to a 5-0 lead over New York in the 3rd inning, while St. Louis is winning its ball game at Chicago. Red Dunlap has had success in his career against Cornell. He's 8-4-1 overall against the Big Red. 8-3 while at Colgate. He was the head coach at Lehigh for 11 years before going to Hamilton. Malaga takes the completion and he gets leveled at the 50-yard line. Hit at the line of scrimmage by John Modi, number 46, the junior linebacker from Rome, New York.
And again, the Cornell blockers were there, and Modi slices between 3 guys this time and makes the stick. 3rd down, 9 situation for Cornell. John Modi, political science major, a junior out of Rome, New York.
That appeared to be a promising play for Cornell when Malaga first hauled it in.
Cornell
3
has
wide receivers out to the left.
stacked in a row out to the left.
It comes out to Brinkley. Cuts up the middle of the field. He'll be dragged down short of a 1st down. Don Bedell made the tackle at the 43, about 2 yards shy. It'll be 4th and 2 in decision time for Maxie Bond as time ticks down here in the 3rd quarter.
The students down below us want them to go for it. Maxie Bond says, all right, guys, we're going to try it.
They sold more season tickets to Cornell students for this season than they ever have before, and they're coming to their feet on 4th and 2.
Samita is the backup punter, and he could kick the ball.
And he will.
But it's going to go in the end zone unless it takes a good bounce.
And it did not. It went into the end zone, and they roughed the quarterback. Way after the whistle, Nick Panos dumped Aaron Samita for no reason whatsoever, and that'll be a 1st down for Cornell. There is one other flag down on the play.
We may have a penalty against the Big Red as well for unsportsmanlike conduct down around the 28-yard line. The question is where it took place and when it took place. If they're both dead ball fouls, we'll just have the football at the 20-yard line. If one of them is live, then we do it over again.
Let's wait for Newton Whitaker. Here he comes. That's what it'll be. Colgate will get the ball, but you have to wonder what Nick Panos was thinking about after Aaron Samita punted that football away. The ball was bouncing into the end zone when Panos ran over and took a shot at Samita.
Dead ball, personal foul, receiving team. Dead ball, personal foul, kicking team. They're all set. We are not marking them off 1st and 2.
So you heard Newton Whitaker's explanation. Raiders get the ball on their own 20.
And it will be 1st and 10. Damon Phelan rolling out, throws, complete to Buddy Brown at the 29, a yard short of a 1st down.
Coming into the ball game has done just about everything that you want your quarterback to do. He has been able to get outside like Aurora did, but he's been more successful in finding receivers. Of course, Evans made the great run after the catch for the Colgate touchdown.
2nd down and 1 with 1:49 to play in the 3rd quarter. It is Colgate 7 and Cornell nothing. The only touchdown coming here in the 3rd quarter, a 55-yard pass from Phelan to Evans. Kenny Gamble picks up the 1st down for Colgate as he carried out to the 33-yard line.
The Big Red defense is really going to be called upon here to try and shut it down or create another turnover. Try and give some field position to their offense.
Phelan hands off to Gamble. He won't get anywhere this time. Rick Calhoun's at the bottom of the pile, number 97. And Mitch Lee came up from his linebacker spot, number 23.
Tackled by number 97.
Clock winding down to the final minute of the 3rd quarter as you look at Mitchell Lee. Tell you what, that young man is a physical specimen. He has got some gigantic legs. The drive he must have from the legs.
No gain, 2nd and 10 from the 33. Phelan looking left, under pressure, moves away from Lee, but has to scamper out of bounds back at the 28-yard line. That'll be a loss of 5 yards on the play, and there's an injured Cornell player on the field. It is Rick Calhoun, number 97. It looks like he's going to stay in the ball game, although he's limping.
Third and long situation here for the Red Raiders. Look for Phelan to work something here to the wide side of the field as he has got Chafee and Evans to his right.
Campbell slot left. And now it looks like Phelan's checking off. He drops back to pass. Firing for Chafee, he has it. Tackled short of a first down by Jack Ryan, number 49, the junior from Slingerlands, New York. Well short of a first down by about 6 yards, and Cornell will be forced to punt from its, or Colgate rather, will be forced to punt from its own 36.
Mike Raich, who has had some success, to say the least, in his Big Red career returning punts, would love to do that here.
Raich returned 4 punts last week against Penn for an average of 9 yards per return. He also broke one for 25 yards. Crump's punt, fielded at the 28 by Raich. Trying to run right and get to the sideline. Now cuts up the field. And a good job by Mike Raich as he brought the ball back to the 39-yard line. That is the end of the third quarter here at Sholkoff Field in Ithaca, New York. The score at the end of 3 quarters of play, Colgate 7 and Cornell nothing. We'll be back at Sholkoff Field in just a moment. The Ivy League football game of the week is made possible by a grant from the financial professionals at Payne Weber. And by a grant from Chrysler Plymouth. We're working together to be the best. To the fourth quarter we go, and Colgate with a 7-0 lead over Cornell. Sean McDonough along with Jack Corrigan and Mike Madden. Hope you're enjoying the Ivy League football game of the week on PBS. There's been plenty of excitement and action, just very little scoring.
And the one score that Colgate engineered, the 55-yard touchdown pass, was really just a short pass that Rick Evans turned into a big play.
Aaron Samita at quarterback. Marvin Dunklin alone in the backfield. Frank Manego in motion. It's a reverse to Chris Hahn. He has some blockers ahead of him. Hahn across the 50. Inside Colgate territory and taken out of bounds at the 43-yard line by number 26, Paul Angelino.
Cornell used this play last week several times with Hahn and once with Sean Hawkins. That was a good time to call it there, to say the least. Colgate was really sprinting towards Samita's action, and Hahn had some blockers in front. Good block by Sean Hawkins there that gave him about 7 or 8 additional yards.
From the 43, the handoff to Dunklin, running left. He's stopped by Minuski and Warwick, number 41, at the 40-yard line after a gain of 3.
Dunklin and Samita were not really on the same page on that play, and Marvin did a pretty good job of getting some yardage. There's another Colgate player down on the field. That's Greg Minuski, their middle linebacker. Minuski, who has been the heart of this Colgate defense this afternoon. They had a chance here while they attend to Greg to look at some more of the famous Cornell and Colgate graduates. There's an old teammate of mine, Ed Marinero, going on to Hollywood to TV fame, first Hill Street Blues. Now I understand he's on Falcon Crest. Adolph Coors, the founder of Coors Brewery, back in 1907. Looking at Goldwyn Smith Hall in the Arts and Science Quadrangle. Some of the Colgate famous grads. There you go, Ben Cohen, Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream. That's good too.
It sure is.
Minuski is up and off, as you see, in good shape. I would assume that next play we'll see 58 back in the ball game.
Second down 7. Cornell at the Colgate 40. Colgate leads 7-0, 14:20 to play, fourth quarter. As the sun breaks through the clouds here at Sholkoff Field, that pass too high for Chris Hahn. He was well covered by George Sanker.
Colgate has gone much more to 5 defensive backs this afternoon and a lot less in terms of the double coverage, in that they have played much more man-to-man coverage this afternoon, and they've done the job. You have to give credit to that Red Raider defensive unit. They have really, for the most part, cut off the Cornell passing game.
Third down and 7 from the 40. Samita under pressure, and he'll be sacked by Kyle Warwick at the 50-yard line. The senior from Greenwich, Connecticut, number 41, Kyle Warwick.
Colgate has put pressure all afternoon on Aaron Samita, and this time they get to him before he can get rid of the football. Warwick running a little stunt from his end spot, looping to the inside, drops Samita back to the 50.
And a punt for Tom Coben. Clock ticking down to 13:45 to play in the fourth quarter. The snap is good. Coben gets off a booming kick. Brian Carroll from his 12. Gets as far as the 17. Lee Rearman makes the tackle.
Number 22, Carroll.
And Colgate,
with
a 7-0 lead, comes back on offense, 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line.
And once again, Maxie Baughan is asking his defensive unit to try and create a turnover to give the ball back to his offense. They have done a superb job this afternoon, the defense, in holding a good Colgate team to just a touchdown thus far.
Damon Phelan took over for Gary Aurora in the third quarter. On his first series, threw a 55-yard touchdown pass to Rick Evans for the game's only score. That pass is complete to Buddy Brown, nearly intercepted. Instead, this one is going to go for a touchdown. Buddy Brown, 83 yards, and Colgate has a 13-0 lead.
They say baseball's a game of inches, so is football. First, the ball is nearly intercepted. Then when Brown started juggling the ball, that created the seam for him. And once he got clear, he was gone. Damon Phelan coming off the bench like an ace relief pitcher has ignited this Colgate offense in the second half.
First touchdown reception of the season for Buddy Brown, the senior from Hollywood, Florida. Rory Crump on to attempt the extra point. He's only 4 of 8 this season in this area. 1 for 1 today. That one blocked. Will it make it? No, it won't. Rory Crump now 4 of 9 on the season on point after touchdowns, and I think Fred Dunlap might look for help in that area.
Get another look at the touchdown pass from Damon Phelan to Buddy Brown. Good play action. Then he rolled to his left, and Brown is doing a post pattern from the backside. The juggling right there took Mark Perlman off the angle to make the tackle, and Brown was out of here. We'll get another look at this and watch Buddy Brown juggle the ball, but once he recovered it, he was behind Corky Webb, and there was nothing the Cornell secondary could do. Buddy Brown, who came into this game with 80 catches in his career and 12 touchdowns at Colgate. He's on his way to becoming one of the best receivers all time for the Red Raiders with his first touchdown of 1987. That's a nice drive, 82 yards in one play.
You don't want to pin the blame on anybody on those 2 touchdowns, but Mark Perlman had a good chance to make a tackle on Evans on the first touchdown and there on Buddy Brown, and he failed to make the play in each instance. 13-16 to go, and Colgate with a 13-0 lead over Cornell. Frank Monego from the 13 heads toward the right sideline, bounces off De La Rosa, but is taken down by Spicer at the 27-yard line. That's where Cornell takes over. 1st and 10, facing a 13-0 deficit.
And Aaron Samita knows he's going to have to put this ball in the air. The Colgate defense knows that as well. You can bet there's going to be an awful lot of pressure coming from up front.
Around the Ivy League, Penn's on the board. Lafayette still ahead by 14 over Columbia, and Brown holding on to that 3-point lead over Rhodey. Malaga, the lone setback behind Sumida. Here comes the rush, dumped off, intended for Brickley, and it's complete, they say, out to the 31-yard line. Greg Minuski made the tackle. It's a gain of 4 on first down, 2nd and 6 upcoming, and we're inside of 13 minutes to play.
Brickley got roughed up a bit on that kickoff and was slow getting into the huddle. He still looks like he's less than 100%. There is enough time for them to engineer the long drive and not feel like you've got to throw the home run balls yet. But as we get down near 12 and a half to go in this one, their options offensively are far, far fewer.
Again, just one back behind Sumida. It was Malaga over the middle for Brickley. Close to a first down as he was hit by Minuski at the 36.5-yard line. Needs to get to just about the 37 for a first down.
Tackled by number 58.
And it looks like they will measure this.
.12 15 seconds to go in this one as they bring the chains across. Colgate with a couple of long touchdown passes from Damon Phelan in the 3rd and now the 4th period to extend the Colgate lead. You see Nelson Whitaker's indication of how much remains for Cornell to pick up the first down. Next week, Colgate will be at Holy Cross in a big Colonial League game, while the Big Red will be taking on Lafayette.
Colgate, Holy Cross, and Lehigh are atop the Colonial League standings, all with a 1-0 record. Sumida picks up the first down as he goes forward behind center and made his way out to the 40-yard line for a gain of 3. Other members of the Colonial League, Bucknell, Lafayette, and Davidson, as well as William and Mary. Inside of 12 minutes to play now. 11:50 and the clock running here in the 4th quarter. Colgate 13, Cornell nothing. Sumida to the near side to Brickley. He's taken out of bounds by Matt Jaworski at the 47-yard line. A gain of 7, 2nd and 3.
Just as he did last week, Aaron Sumida with the little passes to Sam Brickley. Brickley caught 9 balls last week against Penn, and it was passes just like that, little short dumps and outs and curls to get you some yardage, but not into the end zone yet.
Still have not seen much of Sean Hawkins and Chris Hahn, Cornell's starting wide receivers. There's Brickley again with a first down inside Colgate territory at the 46-yard line. Steve Aldero made the tackle.
To follow up on that question you posed, Sean, part of the reason for that is that they are using Brickley in a slot-like formation similar to where a tight end would be, yet he's got wide receiver running back speed, and so he is able to beat the linebackers and get some things done. Look at that score. Georgia Tech surprising Clemson. Notre Dame has regained the lead after Purdue had a big lead early in that ball game.
1st and 10, Cornell at the Colgate 46. Sumida going deep for Hawkins. He got tangled up with De La Rosa, and a penalty flag comes down at the 15-yard line.
Now the difference on that play from an earlier fine effort by De La Rosa is that time he did not turn around. But they're going to call it against Hawkins, and I can't believe that. That's a bad call. They have called it against Hawkins.
Oh, that's a terrible call.
Hawkins is adjusting to the football, and De La Rosa runs into him. Or was it Dave Bavell? Either way.
Offensive interference. Red, lost it down. 2nd down.
That's a bad call. You see Hawkins trying to get back to the ball, and De La Rosa cuts him off.
Now Hawkins has every right to go for that football, and De La Rosa was right in his path, not looking at the football. That's a terrible call by the officials here this afternoon. And a costly one for Cornell. It backs them all the way to their own 39-yard line.
And it's a loss of down as well.
2nd and 25, and Aaron Sumida, to make matters worse for Cornell, is going to burn a timeout. He'll come over to the sideline and talk it over with the Big Red coaching staff. It is Colgate 13, Cornell nothing, with 11:10 to play here in the 4th quarter. Let's take a look at this play one more time. Sean Hawkins going after the football for Cornell.
Samita going on the fly route deep up the sidelines on the far side to Hawkins. He is adjusting to the ball, and while he initiated the contact, he did so in his efforts to get back to the football.
And De La Rosa there was making no effort to play the football.
That's right. So either in that situation, it has to be defensive interference or no call. You look back in this football game to key moments, and you have to consider Cornell's situation when they had it 1st and goal in the 2 in a scoreless ball game, and a bad judgment on a running play and the pass interference call that took them out of scoring range. They loom large.
Samita on 2nd and 25. Swings it out to Malaga. Tries to move away from Modi, and he did, but help was coming for Modi in the form of Kyle Warwick and Greg Minuski, who dropped Malaga at the 40-yard line after a gain of just 1 yard.
And number 46, Modi.
3rd down and 24 for Cornell from their own 40 with 10:45 on the clock running remaining here in the 4th quarter. Colgate 13, Cornell nothing. Samita, plenty of time. Now he's under pressure. Throws over the middle. It's complete to Brickley. He lost the football after the hit, and Colgate came up with it.
Ball should be down, and they are going to say it's down. I think
I haven't seen any indication yet that they're going to say it was down.
Now they have. The ground caused the fumble. The ground cannot cause a fumble. As Brickley breaks across the middle and catches this ball, he is hit, but the ball pops loose
on the ground
when it hits the ground, and that cannot happen. As a fumble anyway.
It was still 8 yards short of a 1st down, and Maxie Bond with 10:10 to go is going to punt, trailing by 13.
And Colgate will have to burn a timeout because they had too many guys in the field.
They didn't have anybody back deep to receive it when the timeout was called. Carroll ran off the field. 10:03 to go. Colgate 13, Cornell nothing, and timeout on the field. Tom Copeland will be punting in just a moment.
While we have a chance here, let's run down that alumni list. A few more names of note as we look at the beautiful scenes of Cornell University campus. There's a young man who was an outstanding player here at Cornell, DERRICK Harmon. Robert Trent Jones.
There's a guy who I've muttered a few things under my breath at from time to time around the golf courses of America.
Colgate famous grads, the medical expert of CBS TV, Dr. Holly Atkinson, Johnny Marks, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and John Dean, counsel to President Nixon and a key figure in the Watergate scandal of the mid-70s.
We also saw in the background some scenes from the Cornell campus. And I know you're particularly familiar with the library here, spending a lot of time studying as you did in your days in Ithaca.
I spent a few hours in there, that's for sure. Still a great place, not only to come to school, but on days like this to watch a football game. This is a great stadium to watch football.
It certainly is. And you saw a moment ago, Toronto has come back to tie Detroit 3-3 in their battle in Toronto. Park goes in motion. It's a short snap. Mark Bond isn't going to get anywhere near the 1st down. He gained perhaps a yard and was dropped by John Modi, number 46. So Colgate called the timeout, and they probably had an inkling that that was coming.
The fake punt in that situation probably would have worked had it happened spontaneously, but once the timeout call was made, as you indicated, Sean, Colgate was ready for all the possibilities.
Red Raiders back on offense. 9:56 to play, 4th quarter. Damon Phelan came off the bench in the 3rd quarter and has thrown 2 touchdown passes, one of 55 yards to Rick Evans, the other 83 yards to Buddy Brown. This is Gamble. He was trying to get outside, but Mark Perlman, the cornerback, came up, number 6, and he made the play.
Tackled by number 6.
Buddy Brown threw an excellent block on Mike McGran to get Gamble to the corner, but Perlman was there coming up quickly.
Don't want to mess with Mark Perlman. He's a black belt in judo and is a 7-time junior national judo champion.
Cornell has to force a turnover here. They're just running out of time.
9:20 to play. High formation. Gamble gets the call again. He slides forward across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Gain of 3, and Colgate facing a 3rd down and 7.
Regardless of how this game ultimately turns out, Maxie Baughan still has to feel good about his defense for the rest of the Ivy schedule. In consecutive weeks, he's dealt with Chris Flynn and now Kenny Gamble, and his defensive unit has been able, for the most part, to contain very, very good runners.
Maxie Baughan, 1960 graduate of Georgia Tech, and as we talked about last week, 13 years as a linebacker in the NFL, 9 Pro Bowl games. Damon Phelan on 3rd down. That pass is complete to a wide open Rick Evans. He goes out of bounds with the 1st down at the Cornell 38-yard line.
There's a flag back at the 48-yard line, however. We'll wait and see the indication from Nelson Whitaker.
They're bringing the football back up the field, if that's any indication. And it's offensive pass interference against Colgate. So what goes around comes around. And I think that official on the far side of the field might have felt as though he owed one to the Cornell Big Red.
Let's put it this way.
Offensive pass interference, loss of down. It will be 4th down.
It's also a loss of down. That must be the penalty of the week.
I guess so. We've seen it regularly here this afternoon, 4 times by our unofficial count.
Colgate penalty, 15 yards and loss of down.
Well, we have a moment. We'd like to thank Mr. Frank H.T. Rhodes, the president of Cornell University, Lang Kennedy, the director of athletics here at Cornell, and Dave Wohlhuter, the sports information director, for all their efforts in making this broadcast possible. We'd also like to thank Mr. George D. Langdon Jr., the president of Colgate, Fred Dunlap, the coach and athletic director at Colgate, and Bob Cornell, their fine sports information director, for their generous assistance. A little bit of an irony in that Bob Cornell is the sports information director at Colgate. 8.5 minutes to go as Crump punts it away. Raich is going to watch that one bounce. It hit him. The ball's free, and it's recovered by Colgate. Grave error by Mike Raich. Just should have let the ball go, and Mark D'Angelo came up with it for the Red Raiders at the Cornell 30.
Grave error indeed by a veteran football player. Mike just lost his footing, and when the ball bounded into him, he was helpless. The Red Raiders with a big turnover.
Lost his footing and tried to field it. Sheldon Spicer, the original man there, and it's Mark D'Angelo and Spicer who cover the football at the 30-yard line. 1st and 10 Colgate, 8:22 to play 4th quarter. The Red Raiders lead, and as you can see, turnovers have been a part of that 13-0 lead for Colgate. Toward the end zone goes Phelan, and DeLamalore was there on coverage. A.J. Thomas was going for the ball, and they rule no harm, no foul, and incompletion, and 2nd and 10 upcoming for Colgate from the 31.
So many times you see a coach go for the jugular after a crucial turnover. Freddie Dunlap calling for the home run ball. Maxie Baughan 10 yards out on the field, screaming at an official, saying that should have been offensive interference.
I think that was a good no call. Thomas went up in the air over the back of DeLamalore, but he was going after the football. High formation behind Phelan. The handoff goes to the fullback. That's Jeff Kroll, number 35, the senior from Wheeling, West Virginia. He plunged forward for about 3 yards. Less than 8 minutes to play now, and Colgate hanging on to that 13-0 lead, trying to add on to it as they're at the 27-yard line of Cornell, facing 3rd and 7. Twin receivers to the left of the field.
Look for some crossing pattern with Thomas and Brown to the left.
Phelan a long count, wisely letting the 25-second clock run down. Kenny Gamble with room along the right side. Kenny Gamble's going in for the touchdown that should put the football game away for Colgate. A 27-yard touchdown run for Kenny Gamble. That'll put him over the 100-yard mark for the day. And with 7:28 to play, it's 19-0 Colgate.
Jack Ryan, the free safety at the top of your screen, is really popped by number 73, Mike Cody. And that was the block that sprung Kenny Gamble into the end zone for what should be, as Sean indicated, the finishing touch. Cornell be hard-pressed to come up with 3 scores in 7.5 minutes.
Just another day at the office for Kenny Gamble. Rory Crump trying to make it 20-0. And that one is good. Didn't look pretty, but got through. It's always an adventure with Rory Crump on extra points. He's now 5 of 10 for the season in that category. 20-0 Colgate with 7:28 to play in the fourth quarter.
One more look at the touchdown run by Kenny Gamble. Watch the right side of your screen, number 49, as he is peeling that way. I said it was Mike Cody. It was Dave Poppin, number 51, who really put the block on Ryan. Ryan also got caught in the little bit of misdirection at the line of scrimmage on the fake and then the give to that guy, Kenny Gamble. You look at the ECAC weekly honor roll, and that young man is there just about every week. He is going to be a very high draft choice in the NFL draft next spring, if and when the NFL ever starts playing again.
An international relations major. He was quoted in Sports Illustrated in a nice article about him in this week's issue as saying that, yeah, he'll play NFL football, but he'd also like to make a lot of money, and that's really the only reason he's interested in professional football. If not, he'd go about something else that could make him some money quickly out of college. Sam Brickley from the 14. Trying to find the right sideline, now cuts back across the field. He's shirt tackled by Juan De La Rosa at the 23-yard line.
Well, the strength of Colgate gradually wore down the Big Red of Cornell here this afternoon, and I think you again have to go back to Cornell's missed opportunity on 1st and goal to score. Had they gone up 7-0, I think we would have had ourselves a much different second half of football. But when the Raiders were able to shut off Cornell, that revived their football team, and they have gone on to demonstrate why they're a good club.
Samita still at quarterback, looking for the screen. He lost the football. Tony Khalif runs it in, and it's a touchdown for Colgate. Nick Pano stripped Samita of the ball. Khalif picked it up and ran it in. Newton Whitaker signaled a touchdown, but that ball should be down at about the 2-yard line. You can't advance a fumble in college football, and that ball hit the turf. Now Newton Whitaker is changing his signal after conferring with the other officials, and the ball will be down at about the 2-yard line. So Tony Khalif celebrated his first collegiate touchdown briefly, but now it's been taken off the board. Nonetheless, Colgate will get the ball inside the Cornell 5.
Well, they were running a screen to the left of Samita, right side of the monitor, and you see Khalif falling on the ball as he tried to roll away from trouble. Panos was there. People are going to look at this score tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning when they pick up their newspapers and say, well, Colgate dominated, and that's far from the case. This would be a situation where the score has been certainly misleading.
Sunshine breaking back out here in the late stages of the afternoon. Colgate a little disoriented, didn't have enough players on the field, and they have to use another timeout.
Watch it again. They are trying to run a screen to Samita's left, and Colgate picks it up. And when Aaron saw there was nothing there, he tried to get away, and Panos stripped him of the football. In the NFL, that would have been a score. In college, the only way you can advance a fumble is if you catch it in the air.
That must have been what Newton Whitaker thought originally, and then one of the other officials came over and told him that the ball did indeed hit the ground. Maxie Bond wasn't going to let that go undetected. He was about 10 yards out on the field.
Damon Phelan perhaps has regained the starting quarterback spot for Colgate, coming on in relief of Gary Aurora, throwing a couple of touchdown passes.
You really have to think that Damon Phelan has done a nice job, but Gary Aurora could have had the same result with the touchdown passes that Phelan threw. One was 55 yards, the other 83, but they were short passes into traffic that the receiver took off and ran with the ball. Into the middle of the line and short of the goal line go the Colgate Red Raiders as the clock ticks down to 7 minutes. Jeff Kroll got that carry. That's Dave Goodwin, the third string quarterback, signaling in the place as a freshman wearing number 19.
And by number 51, Farley.
We've got Dave Dossey on the sidelines warming up for Cornell, as well as Larry Delaney, one of those other junior quarterbacks for the Big Red. Obviously going to come on. I think it's going to be Dossey.
He is listed as the second string quarterback for Cornell. Phelan, wide open territory for Damon Phelan, and he walks right into the end zone unmolested. Touchdown Colgate, and the route is on now here in the fourth quarter. 26-0 Red Raiders with 6:32 to play.
Cornell has not used Brent Felito that much in the second half. Their starting strong safety, Jack Ryan, has been in the ball game. I see Felito down on the sidelines. I don't know if he has got an injury problem or that was just a coach's decision.
Number 16, Rory Crump, to attempt the conversion.
Here's Rory Crump again, getting practice now on these extra points. That one's good.
The kick is good.
And it's 27-0 in favor of the Red Raiders of Colgate with 6:32 to play. Let's bring in Mike Madden right now. Mike?
We're going to be reading this in the paper tomorrow, and they're going to see 27-0 or whatever the final score will be, and they'll assume that it was a Colgate rout. And you alluded to the fact that Cornell made a much closer game of it than that. But if we recall the first half, it could have easily been up into the 40s by now after they had that first play interception, took it down inside the 20. They botched up that one chance when they were inside the 5. So though they did get 27 points, well, they have 27 as of now, they could easily have that score up into the 40s and still be running.
Let me ask you a question, Mike, while we've got a moment here. This obviously is not an Ivy League contest, and while Cornell wants to win every football game they can play, the fact that they lose to Colgate here still does not really affect them so much in Ivy League play. From your experience, what did you feel about the non-conference games?
The non-conference games at Harvard, we kind of looked at those as a bonus. I mean, if you win those, that's great. You're representing the league. You're making the league look good. You can talk a little smack. But you're really playing against those 7 other teams, and you're going for the Ivy championship. So it does take the sting out of a loss like this.
And I'm sure the same is true of Colgate and their Colonial League battles. Although they don't have to worry about a loss here this afternoon, or so it would seem, with 6:26 to play. The Red Raiders lead 27-0 as Cornell comes on offense with Dave Dassey, number 8 at quarterback. He's a junior from Orinda, California, and taking his first snaps of the season.
Get an opportunity for both ball clubs to run some new people in there, although much of the Colgate first defense is still out there.
Dassey throws in and out of the hands of Brickley and nearly picked off. John Modi on the coverage, the linebacker wearing number 46, and Brickley should have had that one.
Greg Minuski, their middle linebacker, covers so much ground you don't tend to talk about Matt Jaworski or John Modi, their outside linebackers, that frequently. But when they have been called upon to make good plays this afternoon, both have done so, particularly Modi.
We have a look at our Ivy League schedule next week. We'll have Princeton at Brown, and we want to talk with our executive producer, Barry Frank, about the decision not to televise Yale at Hawaii. I know all of the crew was hoping for that plum assignment. Maybe next year. Flags down. Dassey over the middle. It was deflected and incomplete, intended for Chris Hahn. Greg Minuski got a hand on it, and let's check out the penalty flag back at the 32-yard line.
Get offsides against Colgate. Nick Panos was a little bit ahead of the snap, so they'll get a free play there. But Minuski, you can see now, particularly for Colgate, with the big lead, they can fly those linebackers.
Still second down.
They can fly those linebackers out there because Cornell's got little hope but to throw the football. You like to see your team get points on the board, but sometimes in this situation when you're running a new quarterback in there, it's good to just run your basic offense and give him experience in that in case you're going to need him in different situations in mop-up time.
This is only Dassey's 4th season playing the position of quarterback. He might not like it too much as he gets snowed under back at the 23-yard line by Mark D'Angelo, number 70, who's played a big ball game. Joe Hunt, 43, was also there.
Well, when you are down 27-0, you've got to throw the ball, and everybody wearing a different colored jersey knows that, and they keep coming at you and coming at you. It's not an enviable task to be the quarterback in this kind of situation.
As I was beginning to mention, Dave Dassey didn't start playing quarterback until his senior year in high school. He had previously been a quarterback and a wide receiver. He's also the starting shortstop on Cornell's baseball team, and at 307 last year. There's a completion and a first down. Sean Hawkins made the grab out at the 46-yard line. The senior from Portland, Maine, a government major.
Looks like a guy going deep in the hole to throw a guy out at shortstop. No question about the good arm as you look at the Cornell mascot.
And not a bad batting average at 307.
Not bad indeed. It's another thing I like about the Ivy League. You have a lot of people that are still two-sport players.
Did you entertain any of those thoughts during your time at the ball? Dassey complete to Chris Hahn inside Colgate territory at the 35-yard line. That's a gain of 18 yards on the play and a first down Cornell.
Well, they had said that all three of their quarterbacks did some good things during preseason. They had gone with Aaron Samita at Penn last week because he seemed to be making the right decisions for them, and he certainly did at Penn. This afternoon it was a little more difficult for Aaron. So Dave Dassey getting a chance to work a little bit at quarterback.
4:40 to go. Fourth quarter. Colgate leads 27-0. There's another completion. Sam Brickley has a first down as he moves inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. Dave Dassey off the bench and right on the money with these throws, and Brickley apparently shaken up on that play.
A little bit of credit, too, to that Cornell offensive line. Granted, Colgate not putting on quite the pressure they have earlier in the ball game. But at the same time, they are giving Dassey enough time back there to find the open receiver. I'm looking forward to that ball game next week. Princeton and Brown here on the Ivy League Game of the Week. I'm sure Mike Madden is in particular, since his brother Joe is an offensive tackle for Brown.
And Joe's celebrating a birthday today. We pass along our happy birthday wishes to him. Incomplete, intended for Frank Menego. Got his hands on it and should have come up with the football. Don Charney, number 5, on the coverage, but that ball hit the hands of Frank Menego, the sophomore from Massillon, Ohio.
Dassey hung in there tough against a blitz from Colgate, made the right read. Receiver didn't catch the ball. Nothing more frustrating than dropping a pass you should have caught and coming back to the huddle. And normally the quarterback doesn't say anything to you, but he gives that look that could kill you.
Dave Dassey was looking for his first collegiate touchdown pass, and Menego for his first collegiate TD reception. Quarterback draw, Dassey up the middle, still on his feet, and he goes down at the 15-yard line. Came up about 2 yards short of the first down as the clock ticks down to 4 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, and Colgate in command with a 27-0 lead over Cornell. Princeton next week. We get our first look at the Garrett brothers, Jason, John, and Judd, who combined to do a number on the Big Green of Dartmouth last week, and Princeton's season opening 34-3 win over Dartmouth. Brown also a winner in week 1 against Yale, so they'll both be 1-0 in Ivy play beginning next week. There's a pass for Brickley. He was out of the end zone. Don Charney right there, step for step on the coverage for Colgate.
Now Cornell is going to go for a field goal here, and people might say, well, why would you kick a field goal when you're down 27-0? One, you want to put some points on the board. You never like to be shut out. But secondly, you've got an inexperienced kicker in Dave Quarles. So again, you're trying to give him opportunities in game situations to succeed. And that's why I think it's a wise move to try it here.
Number 2, Quarles.
Dave Quarles 0 for 1 this afternoon in the field goal category, and he's 1 for 3 on the season. This comes from the left hash mark. Samita dropped the hold. It's up anyway, and it's good. Dave Quarles connects from 33 yards out, make it a 43-yard field goal. Check that, a 33-yard field goal. And it's a 27-3 football game with 3:25 to go. And we'll be back to Sholkoff Field in just a moment. The Ivy League football game of the week is made possible by a grant from Chrysler Plymouth. We're working together to be the best. And by a grant from the financial professionals at Payne Weber. Dave Quarles has connected on a 33-yard field goal for Cornell, and the Big Red on the board. Still trailing 27-3 with 3:25 to play in the football game. Sean McDonough along with Jack Corrigan and Mike Madden. We want to thank our underwriters, Chrysler Plymouth and Payne Weber, for their continuing support of Ivy League football, making these telecasts possible.
Cornell has their onside kick team on. And
look at that score.
Wow.
That's a surprise. Penn cannot rebound from the loss in week 1 against Cornell, and Harvard hanging on to the lead by 7 over Northeastern.
Northeastern, a pretty good club, so Joe Restick's Harvard team After a nice win last week, looks like they're for real behind Tom Yohe there. Fine quarterback. And Princeton is definitely for real. It's Vic Gatto, the former Harvard player and Tufts coach, having his troubles at Davidson.
And the baseball scores. Onside kick upcoming. Quarles squibs it. And Brian Carroll came up with it for Colgate at the 49-yard line. The Red Raiders come back on the field on offense. 1st and 10 at the Cornell 49, 3:25 to go.
22, Carroll.
Cornell will play some of its reserve players to try and give them some game experience. Adrian Simmons now in the secondary along with Donnell Johnson and Corky Webb. Jack Ryan, Mitchell Lee now in at middle linebacker.
Just about the entire second team out there on defense for Cornell. Damon Phelan at quarterback. He came into a scoreless tie early in the 3rd quarter and has engineered the Colgate offense to the 27-0 lead. Or 27-3 lead now after the field goal by Quarles. J.J. Cordy on the carry, the freshman from Vestal, New York, number 30. He's playing for Jeff Way, who, as we mentioned earlier, has a sprained knee. Suffered that in the game last week against William and Mary, and he'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Up the middle and very short yardage. Stacy Harris on the carry, a senior from Chelmsford, Massachusetts. Just 5'5", 159 pounds. Next week, we're in Providence, Rhode Island for the Brown Bruins and the Princeton Tigers. The Garrett brothers, Judd, Jason, and John. Of course, their dad, Jim, the former head coach at Columbia, lasted just 1 season, and it was a stormy season at that. So the Garrett brothers took their act to Princeton, and Steve Toshis and the staff there very happy that they did. Dave Goodwin's at quarterback, and his pass is incomplete. Intended along the near sideline for Jeff Kroll and Rick Evans, rather, and there was some pushing and shoving after that play along the Cornell sideline. They're still having to separate Chafee and Webb now. Dave Goodwin was at quarterback on that play, number 19, the freshman from Shrub Oak, New York.
Number 16,
2:16 remaining. Colgate 27, Cornell 3, and Rory Crump on the punt.
Number 13, Bridge.
Cornell with 9 men on the line of scrimmage. Look like they're coming.
Crump kicks it away. Raich calling for a fair catch, and he makes it at the 13-yard line. We want to alert our public television stations along the line that we will be staying on the air past our usual sign-off time till the end of the football game. So we appreciate your bearing with us and staying with the Ivy League football game of the week. Colgate leading 27-3, 2:08 to go. Hopefully we can get off the air prior to our appointed time in the vicinity of 4 o'clock. But if we do go over because the game runs over, we will stay with the football game. Dave Dossey still at quarterback. Looking over the middle, complete to Frank Menego. He's dragged down after a gain of 5 yards on the play. Substitutions into the ball game on both sides. Dan Knoll, number 55, a reserve linebacker, made the tackle for Colgate. He's a junior from Utica, New York. Dassey. Incomplete and nearly intercepted by Juan De La Rosa, who's had a very active day in the secondary for the Colgate Red Raiders.
Incomplete. Defending on the play, number 46.
Cornell will go on and play Lafayette next week before they get back into Ivy League play. And as we mentioned, Colgate with a big Colonial League game next week against Holy Cross, Gordy Lockbaum and the Crusaders.
They always talk about Gordy Lockbaum as a Heisman candidate, and they should, but how about Kenny Gamble and all he's accomplished in his collegiate career at Colgate? There's an incomplete pass. It was intended for number 85, Mike Barone, reserve wide receiver. And Cornell forced a punt on 4th down and 5 from their own 18-yard line.
Menego, you're out there. You're off.
Colgate will get the ball back, and I'm sure trying to run out the clock.
We're talking about Kenny Gamble, already the NCAA Division I AA all-purpose running leader. His career stats unsurpassed in the history of Division I AA football. Coben's punt down at the 30-yard line. He holds 23 school records. He has 23 games of 100 yards or more.
Has the chance to be the best Division I AA player in rushing, all-purpose running he already has, and career scoring, at least in terms of rushing touchdowns.
Colgate back on offense as we look at more famous graduates of these two institutions. Goodwin at quarterback. Pitches it to Stacy Harris. He's knocked down by Corky Webb, out of bounds at the 39-yard line with 1:16 to play. Colgate 27, Cornell 3. Fred Dunlap on his way to career coaching victory number 122. Fred is the 7th winningest active coach in Division I AA with those 122 career victories.
Former Cornell assistant, so he probably enjoys coming down here to Ithaca and winning ball games against a former employer.
Goodwin again the option. Pitches it to J.J. Cordy, and the freshman will be stopped short of a first down. Dragged down for a loss, as a matter of fact, of 1 yard on the play. We want to remind our stations along the line once again that we will be staying with the football game to its conclusion and going past our appointed sign-off time. Mike Strigel made the tackle on that play, number 59, another reserve into the football game for Cornell. Ball came free, and there's a big pileup at the 39-yard line. Colgate recovered the fumble, and they're facing 4th down and 3, and the clock is ticking down. That will likely be the final play of the football game unless Colgate elects to run a Sam Weich play here on 4th down.
Kenny Gamble with a good afternoon for the Red Raiders, 114 yards as Freddie Dunlap and the rest of the Colgate football team celebrate their 3rd victory of the year.
And Fred Dunlap will be escorted off the field. The final score here this afternoon in Ithaca. The Colgate Red Raiders 27 and the Cornell Big Red 3. For Jack Corrigan and Mike Madden, I'm Sean McDonough. So long, everybody.
The executive producer of the Ivy League football game of the week is Barry Frank. Produced by Chris Carmody. Directed by Bob Lanning. Technical director Tom Clark. This has been a presentation of Trans World International and the Ivy League Network.